8 things that no fucker tells you about quitting alcohol. 19 months later, from a bloke who drank for 45 years. I made the original version of this video when I was over a year alcohol free. Since then, it's been watched more than 750,000 times. That tells me an awful lot of people are discovering that life after alcohol is fuck all like the brochure. There was no instant glow up, no linen trousers, no sunrise yoga, and no ceremony involving Chelsea from Surrey explaining how sobriety relied a womb. I stopped drinking on the winter solstice of 2024. No AA, no sponsoring, no rehab. That was my route. It is not a commandment carved in a fucking mountain. More than 19 months later, I've learned that removing alcohol is one job. Understanding why your brain kept reaching for it is another job entirely. So here's the update. What changed, what didn't, and what only became obvious once the applause stopped and I started living inside the decision. Number 1. The boredom doesn't disappear, you become less fucking boring. In the original video, I said that boredom would nearly kill you, and that was true. Early alcohol-free life can feel like somebody has cancelled all the entertainment and left you in a waiting room with a broken fucking vending machine. Friday night arrives and it lasts for 11 days. Netflix is shit, your phone is shit, everybody else is irritating. Even sitting peacefully within your own thoughts becomes a fucking problem when you remember who is supplying them. For 45 years, alcohol manufactured an event, a dull evening became drinking. A wet Tuesday in Wales, box of wine, 6 beers. It didn't improve the evening, but it postponed my official review until the following morning. Boredom still exists now. The difference is that I no longer treat it like a medical emergency. I cook, write, and I take photographs. I get outside. Occasionally I stand beneath a freezing Welsh waterfall and wonder whether becoming healthy has gone too far. Normal life didn't suddenly become thrilling. I rebuilt enough of myself to participate in it. Alcohol hadn't merely occupied my evenings, it had replaced curiosity, interest, and the ability to sit still without wanting to crawl through my own ass. Rebuilding those things takes longer than emptying the bottles. Number 2, the booze goes, the brain starts interviewing new dealers. Nobody warned me that removing alcohol wouldn't close the marketplace. My brain didn't hand back its compulsive behaviour membership card and retire to fucking Bournemouth. It started inspecting alternative suppliers. Sugar arrived first. Lucifer, the confectionery cousin of Bob, appearing carrying biscuits like he's fucking a tiny Pablo Escobar. He immediately secured the kitchen distribution contract. For somebody else, it might be scrolling, porn, caffeine, weed, energy, whatever. Some replacements even become applause. You stop drinking and work for 14 hours a day, and it's fucking focus. Scrolling till 2 in the morning, and you're merely unwinding. Different behaviour, same internal transaction. Alcohol changed my state quickly. It softened anxiety, interrupted boredom, created anticipation, offered temporary relief from being inside my own fucking head. Removing it didn't immediately remove the demand for those changes. That doesn't make every biscuit an addiction. The useful question is not, what am I doing? It is, what am I trying to change by doing it? That question taught me more than 45 years of calling myself a weak-willed bastard. Number 3, your body recovers on its own schedule. Not some fucking influencers. We're sold a lovely tidy recovery line. Day 3, the toxins leave. Day 7, your skin glows. Day 30, your liver reforms, river dance, and strangers stop you in Tesco to ask about your radiance. Real bodies are not that organised. Mine certainly wasn't. Sleep improved, it went backwards, then improved again. Energy came in waves. Some morning I felt 10 years younger. Other mornings I felt that though I'd been exhumed for administrative purposes. I've lost more than 5 stone and reversed pre-diabetes. Alcohol didn't do that by itself. Removing it opened the door. Changing how I ate, slept, moved and managed my mind carried me through it. Then there are the teeth. 45 years of drinking and other inspired fucking life choices eventually sent the invoice. I've recently had 8 molars removed in about 4 weeks. Apparently the Instagram transformation package doesn't mention being forced backwards in a fucking dentist chair while mentally relocating myself to a Welsh waterfall. Recovery is not a straight line. Some things improve quickly, others take years. Some damage may leave a permanent mark. None of that means you are failing because your body ignores somebody else's 30-day marketing calendar. Number 4, emotions stop being orders. They become information. During the first year, emotions returned like a freight train driven by somebody with a personal grievance. Anger, grief, fear, happiness, regret, all came back at full volume. I could become furious over something tiny. Later I'd realised the tiny thing had merely knocked the final brick from an overloaded system. At 19 months, I still feel everything. I haven't become a beautifully regulated woodland creature who treats every inconvenience with a mindful breath. I'm Welsh, I'm ex-army, and I'm 58. There are operational limits. What changed was my relationship with the feeling. Anger doesn't automatically mean I need to explode. Anxiety isn't proof that something fucking horrible is going to happen. Discomfort doesn't mean I must escape immediately. That is where my emotional observation method came from. I began noticing what was happening in my body, what pressure had accumulated, and what the next behaviour was promising to change. That moment is the gate. For most of my life, I never saw the thing. I was already through it and halfway through the behaviour before my conscious mind arrived carrying a clipboard. Now sometimes I catch the transaction before Bob and the internal firm fucking finish selling it. Not every time. I'm still human, not a kitchen appliance with a factory reset. But often enough to change what happens next. Number 5. Some friendships don't end. They quietly evaporate. I originally said you would lose friends and some people fucking hated that. Usually it's less dramatic. Nobody necessarily announces the friendship is over. The invitations slow down, messages become less frequent. Eventually you realise that alcohol, location and repetition have been holding the whole thing together. Remove one of them and there wasn't much left underneath. That doesn't make either person bad. Sometimes you were drinking companions for 20 years without having one genuinely honest conversation. You told the same stories in the same places while performing the same version of yourself every weekend. Alcohol creates familiarity. Through 6 pints, familiarity can look remarkably like intimacy. The friendships that survive often become better because you're finally present. Before that space feels like freedom, however it can feel incredibly lonely. Then you have to work out how adults make friends without standing at a bar pretending to hear somebody over a tribute band murdering Mr. Brightside. Nobody puts that in the quit list. Number 6, becoming alcohol free doesn't fix your life. It removes your favourite excuse. Alcohol free Ian still has bills, back pain, tinnitus, family history, anxiety and overthinks. Stopping drinking didn't repair every relationship, produce a new career or make the world fair. What it did do was remove the fog. And that sounds wonderful until you discover how much fucking shit that fog was hiding. There were choices I had avoided, feelings I had buried, and parts of my life I blamed on everything except the fucking bloke making the decisions. Alcohol caused plenty of problems. It had also become a convenient explanation for all of them. Once it went, responsibility became unavoidable. That isn't punishment, it's power. Calling behaviour an output does not remove responsibility. It shows you where responsibility can be used. The bottle wasn't the entire problem. It was one very destructive output from a system that had been running under load for far too long. Number 7, regret changes shape. It doesn't completely leave. At first, regret, it feels like being repeatedly punched by a calendar. 45 years, the money, the mornings lost to hangovers, the relationships that I'd fucking damaged, the opportunities avoided because alcohol had already booked the evening, the weekend, and most of my internal bandwidth. Nobody gets that time back. Anyone casually telling you never to look backwards probably hadn't discovered how much of their own life went fucking missing. At 19 months, I can look back without living there. The past is evidence. It is not a life sentence. I cannot change what happened, but I can refuse to waste the years ahead punishing myself for the years already gone. That would be like setting fire to the remaining furniture because the kitchen had already burned down. The useful question is no longer, why did I lose so much time? Now I ask, what am I doing with today while I can still fucking remember it? Number 8, the pride becomes something better. It becomes self-trust. In the first video, I talked about quiet pride. The moments at a barbecue where everybody gets louder, starts repeating themselves and develops the confidence of an international salesman while holding a fucking paper plate. Then you realise you ain't doing it anymore. That pride is still there. Something deeper has started growing underneath it though. I trust myself more. For years I made promises in the morning and I broke them by 6 o'clock. I'm not drinking tonight lasted until Bob opened fucking negotiations. Then the internal PR firm released a detailed statement explaining why today didn't count. Every broken promise taught me that my word meant fuck all. Remaining alcohol free has slowly reversed that. Not through perfection or willpower. I simply began proving that an urge could arrive without becoming an order. I could feel uncomfortable without immediately escaping. I could reach the gate and still decide what happened next. That self-trust is worth more than the money saved, the weight loss, or the improved sleep. It changes the way you stand inside your own life. Now for the questions that always turn up. Is it worth it? Completely, 100%. That doesn't mean every alcohol-free day is wonderful dancing with fucking unicorns. Some days are still absolute bollocks. At least I only experience them once now, instead of living in a hangover, shame, and living the next morning. Does it get easier? Some parts do. Other parts become more honest. The cravings may lose its teeth, but life still carrying life. The difference is now that I have better tools. What if I drink again? Don't turn an event into an identity. Look honestly at what happened, understand the sequence, regroup, and continue. Shame loves turning one decision into a complete collapse because shame is a dramatic little bastard. Do you need AA? Some people do brilliant with AA. I don't deny it. Others use therapy, medication, dancing one-legged around a maypole under the moon. I didn't use AA, a sponsor, or rehab. I also rejected the idea I was powerless, and that was my route. It doesn't have to be yours. Use what works for you and discard what doesn't. Nobody owns the only entrance. My advice after 19 months? Stop fucking waiting for rock bottom. Rock bottom is not a compulsory qualification. You are allowed to stop because you've had enough. You can stop because you recognise where this is heading, or because you simply don't want fucking eating or ruin your diary anymore. Find one person who understands and won't feel uncomfortable confronting it. Ask what alcohol was doing for you. What happened immediately before you wanted it? What relief, reward, stimulation, or escape did it promise? Removing alcohol gets rid of the poison. Understanding the machinery helps stop another dealer quietly taking over the account. 45 years drinking, more than 19 months alcohol free. I'm still here. I'm still learning. Still occasionally bored as fuck, but no longer mistaking boredom for a reason to poison myself. If you're thinking about stopping, don't try to solve the rest of your life tonight. Get through today without drinking. Tomorrow can wait until it has the decency to arrive. If this sounds more like your reality than your usual recovery bollocks glow, subscribe. There's plenty more coming about what happens when you put down the drink and get back your life. Pick up the wrench.